Ever heard someone say, like, a child blossomed in the right environment?
Yeah.
We're going to deep dive into a therapy today that takes that idea to heart,
Okay.
especially for kids on the autism spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking all things ABA,
Mm.
that's applied behavior analysis, and why so many parents and experts are calling it like a game changer.
Yeah.
Our guide is this awesome resource, Unlocking Potential, a guide to affordable ABA therapy for children with autism.
Great source.
I think you'll be surprised by what we uncover, so let's jump right in.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that while ABA gets talked about a lot,
Right.
there's still a lot of misconceptions floating around.
Yeah.
People hear behavior analysis and might, jump to the wrong conclusions.
Right. It almost sounds like intimidating.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, let's set the record straight.
Okay.
What is ABA actually about when you get past, like, all the jargon?
At its heart, ABA is about understanding a child's, unique strengths
Okay.
and needs when it comes to behavior. Think of it like detective work.
Mm-hmm.
Carefully observing what triggers certain actions, what motivates a child naturally.
I like that.
It's that personalized approach that makes it so powerful.
That makes a lot of sense. And our source really emphasizes how ABA isn't one size fits all.
Right.
In fact, they talk about using these insights to help kids develop what they call essential life skills.
Yes.
What does that actually look like in practice?
So it's all about empowering a child to be more independent
Okay.
and have a better quality of life.
Right.
We're talking about communication, from expressing their needs to understanding those, unspoken social cues we all navigate.
Yeah.
It's about self-care, too.
Right.
Things we might take for granted, getting dressed, eating independently.
It's huge.
And yes, it can also address behaviors that some might consider challenging, but the focus is always on understanding the root cause
Okay.
and teaching new positive ways to cope.
So it's not just about addressing a specific behavior. It's about giving them the tools to, like, navigate the world around them.
Exactly.
Now, our source dives into how ABA works, and I have to admit, this is where I started getting really intrigued,
Okay.
but I can also see how some people might feel a little overwhelmed.
Absolutely. It's important to break things down in a way that makes sense for everyone, not just the scientists.
Oh,
The
yeah.
source does a great job with this. Yeah.
Highlighting things like positive reinforcement,
Okay.
which is a cornerstone of ABA therapy.
That reminds me of when I was training my dog.
Oh, yeah.
Treats, praise those were his currency. Is it kind of similar in ABA?
It is, but on a much deeper level.
Okay.
Positive reinforcement in ABA is about identifying what specifically motivates that child.
Okay.
Maybe it's a sticker, a favorite song, a few minutes with a beloved toy. We use those motivators to reinforce the desired behavior we're working on.
It's like finding the key that unlocks their motivation.
Yes.
Which brings me to another term our source mentions, prompts. This feels connected to what we were saying about how individualized ABA is. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Absolutely. Prompts are like gentle nudges in the right direction when a child is learning something new.
They can be verbal, like a simple hint, or even physical, like guiding a child's hand to complete a puzzle.
Okay.
The key here is that prompts are temporary.
Right.
As the child grasps the skill fam, we gradually fade them out, encouraging independence.
It's fascinating to see how much thought goes into each of these techniques and how they're tailored to this, the individual child.
Yeah.
But I imagine some of our listeners might be wondering how this actually translates to, like, real life.
Right.
Outside of a therapy session.
That's such a crucial point. ABA isn't confined to a therapy room.
Right.
It needs to be integrated into a child's everyday life to be truly effective.
Yeah.
And that's where parents and caregivers become, essential partners in this journey.
Our source seems to agree with it. They dedicate a whole section to the role of parents and caregivers.
Yep.
And they specifically highlight the importance of consistency.
Right.
What do they mean by that?
Think about it this way. When children have predictable routines, it creates a sense of security.
Okay.
This is especially important for children with autism who may thrive on routine and feel overwhelmed by too much unpredictability.
So it's about creating, like, a stable and supportive environment.
Yes.
Where they can practice these new skills.
Exactly. Our source gives the example of consistent schedules.
Okay.
Establishing clear routines for meal times, bedtime, and playtime can make a world of difference.
Huge.
And when those routines incorporate the skills being learned in ABA therapy,
Right.
it creates a powerful synergy.
It's like bridging that gap between between the therapy room and
Right.
their everyday life.
Exactly.
But I have to be honest, I can already feel some parents out there starting to get overwhelmed.
Sure.
It's a lot to take in.
You're absolutely right. It's a lot to process,
Yeah.
especially when you're also juggling all the other responsibilities that come with, parenting.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's exactly why collaboration is so important in ABA therapy.
So it's not about expecting parents to become like therapists themselves overnight.
Not at all. A good ABA therapist doesn't just work with the child, they work with the whole support system.
Right.
They provide guidance, training, and ongoing support to help parents and caregivers feel empowered and equipped to implement these strategies at home.
That makes me think about something you said earlier about how ABA is tailored to each child's unique needs.
Right.
I'm guessing that applies to how therapists work with families, too.
Right. Absolutely. Every family is different. Every dynamic is different. A skilled ABA therapist understands that and will work collaboratively with the family to find solutions that fit their unique circumstances and lifestyle.
Okay.
And this is where that idea of affordable ABA from our source title comes into play.
It's amazing how ABA not only helps children thrive, but also empowers families to support that journey in a way that feels manageable
Right.
and sustainable,
Yeah.
Which brings us to that intriguing phrase in our source's title,
Yeah.
affordable ABA.
Okay.
It feels like a bit of a mystery we haven't fully unpacked yet.
Yeah, you're right. We've danced around it a bit, and it's a significant piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Because for many families, the cost of ABA therapy can be like a major hurdle.
Exactly. So how does this source, Unlocking Potential, address that?
Yeah.
Is it giving tips on navigating insurance, or are there alternative approaches discussed?
It tackles both. Actually,
yeah.
one key point the source emphasizes is the importance of understanding your insurance coverage.
Okay.
It encourages families to, thoroughly review their policies, ask questions, and advocate for their child's needs.
Right.
Because you'd be surprised how many benefits people don't even realize they have.
That's such a good reminder for all of us, not just in the context of ABA therapy,
Right.
but knowing our source. I'm guessing it goes beyond just insurance advice.
You know it. The source also dives into alternative models of ABA delivery
Okay.
that can be more budget-friendly.
Okay.
For example, they talk about parent training programs where parents receive, intensive training and support to become their child's primary therapist
Wow.
under the guidance of a qualified professional, of course.
So it's like empowering families to take a more active role, which
Yeah.
could potentially reduce the overall cost.
Exactly.
This is making me realize that affordable ABA isn't just about finding the cheapest option. It's about finding the approach that best fits a family's financial situation and their child's needs.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about accessibility
Yeah.
and finding sustainable solutions that work long term.
Right.
And that's really what this whole deep dive comes down to, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about understanding that every child deserves the opportunity to thrive.
Right.
And ABA therapy, when implemented thoughtfully and collaboratively, can be a powerful tool in unlocking that potential.
It's been such an eye-opening journey exploring ABA with you today.
Yeah.
For anyone listening who feels, inspired to learn more, maybe this sparked a question, or you're realizing ABA might be the missing piece for your family. What's the most important thing to remember as you take that next step?
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Okay.
Reach out to qualified ABA professionals in your area, connect with other families who have, walked this path.
Right.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey.
Love that.
There's a whole community out there ready to support you and your child every step of the way.
Beautifully said. And just like that, another fascinating deep dive comes to a close. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to something as important as our children's well-being. Until next time, keep those curious minds engaged.